You know, some stories aren't just history, they're more like mirrors. They reflect something back at us. Today, we're going to delve into a really profound event from the life of the Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him. It's a story that starts with deep pain and confusion, but it ends up revealing these timeless lessons about truth, about community, and maybe most importantly, about the incredible power of forgiveness. So let's explore this together. I want you to just picture this for a moment. A huge, sprawling desert at twilight. The air is thick, kind of hazy with dust from a really long journey. You see a caravan returning from the Battle of Banu al-Mustalik. And the mood, it's heavy, it's uncertain. And it's right here, in this in-between space between a battle and home, that a massive ordeal is about to unfold. A test that was going to shake the whole community to its core. Now let's be really clear about something. This wasn't just some random gossip. It's so important to understand that this was a calculated attack. The enemies of the faith, they saw a weak spot, an opportunity to create chaos and inflict the deepest personal pain they could by going after the honor of the Prophet's own family. This was a severe, severe trial, and it was met with just an incredible amount of patience. And this is where the whole thing just ignites. A single malicious lie starts to spread. The best way to picture it is like a single drop of dark ink falling into a bowl of crystal clear water. In a split second, all that clarity is gone. It's just clouded with suspicion, with doubt, with confusion. And that lie just started to move through the community with a speed that was absolutely terrifying. This verse from the Quran, wow, it just gets right to the heart of the problem, doesn't it? See, a lot of sincere people, good people, heard the rumor and they repeated it. They didn't start it, but they passed it along, probably just thinking it was harmless talk. But this verse shows us the divine perspective. What we might count as a tiny little thing can actually be, in reality, a huge deal, a matter of immense spiritual weight. So when this lie started spreading, the community basically split into two camps. You had two different responses. On one side, you had the careless tongue, people who, maybe not even with real malice, just became a channel for this poison. But on the other side, you had the believing heart, the heart that heard it and immediately knew this isn't right and refused to give it any oxygen. And that distinction, well, it's everything. And we have these amazing examples of that believing heart in action. Abu Ayyub and his wife are these standout figures. The story goes, when his wife brought up the rumor, he just looked at her and asked, "Would you do something like that?" And she said, "Of course not." And he replied, "Well, Aishah, the Prophet's wife, is so much better than you." And that was it. They were like a rock and a rushing stream, just completely unmoving in their good faith. This question from God is so powerful. It's part gentle correction, part profound lesson. It basically sets the default setting for a believer. Always, always assume the best of each other. This principle is called huzn azan. It's like a shield. The right response wasn't to start investigating or asking for proof of innocence. It was to hear it and immediately say, wait a minute, this is an obvious lie. Okay, so after an entire month of this pain, this patience, this suffocating uncertainty, the whole emotional landscape of the story is about to do a complete 180. The tension doesn't break because of some human testimony or investigation. No, it's something way more profound. The clouds of doubt are literally about to part. Let's see how the truth finally came out. And really, that's the central question of this whole ordeal, isn't it? When human perception is totally clouded, when whispers and rumors create this fog where you can't see clearly, where do you possibly turn for clarity? Where does absolute, unshakable truth even come from? Well, the community was about to get a very direct answer. And here it is, revelation itself descends. The words of God come down. And they don't just clear a name, they reframe the entire experience. This horrible thing, don't think of it as bad for you. No, it's actually good for you. It was a trial that, once it was over, would bring so much benefit, so many lessons, and so much honor to the believers. The light has finally broken through the storm. And just like that, the truth was established with absolute, undeniable finality. Verses of the Quran that would be recited until the end of time came down and declared the innocence of Aishah and completely vindicated the honor of the Prophet's family. The shadows that were cast by the hypocrites' lies, they were just completely vaporized by this divine light. But the revelation did more than just bring vindication. It brought with it this powerful, transformative masterclass in mercy. So now the story shifts. It moves from the pain of the lie to the incredible grace of forgiveness, teaching a lesson that would become a cornerstone of the community's entire character. So these verses that came down, they laid out a super clear social protocol for all time. You can really break it down into 3 steps. First, silence. If you hear something bad about someone, your first response is not to repeat it. Step 2, verify. Demand proof, and the Quran sets the bar incredibly high. And step 3, you actively defend the honor of the innocent person. It's a complete blueprint for how to build a pure society.
Now, this is where the story gets incredibly personal. One of the sincere believers who had actually spread the rumor was a man named Mistah. Now, Mistah was a poor relative of Abu Bakr, the Prophet's best friend and Aishah's own father, and Abu Bakr had been supporting him financially. I mean, can you even imagine the depth of that betrayal?
So, in his completely understandable anger, Abu Bakr swore he would cut off all his financial help to Mistah. But then this verse was revealed, and it directly connects forgiving another person to your own desire to be forgiven by God. And what did Abu Bakr do? Instantly, he not only forgave Mistah, he actually restored the charity he was giving him and even increased it. It is just the perfect example of the transformative power of mercy. So what's the big takeaway from all this? This entire agonizing incident became a source of immense wisdom. It ended up purifying the community, it established divine laws, and it laid down these foundational principles that ensure peace and trust and social order, not just for them, but for all generations to come. This final verse, it's like watching a garden bloom after a huge storm. It establishes this universal law. Goodness is just naturally drawn to goodness. The purity of the Prophet's family was a reflection of who they were, so the slander could never truly stick to them. And in the end, it shows us that upholding truth and purity, that's what leads to divine forgiveness and a generous reward. And that leaves us right here with this final thought. We live in an age of endless information, where rumors and unverified claims spread faster than wildfire. This story from 1400 years ago, it isn't just history. It's a living, breathing guide for us, right now. It asks every single one of us to really think about the weight of our words, the state of our own hearts, and to ask ourselves that crucial question: do we choose to be a channel for darkness or a champion for light?